Hi, this is Zack Rogow, instructor for Around the World with 6 Poets. I'm so excited to partner with Catamaran Literary Reader to present this class because these are some of my favorite writers of all time. They're all modern poets whose work is really accessible and moving, and together they change literature and the way that we see the world. They come from 6 very different parts of the globe, but you'll see a lot of connections amongst their works. I'll show slides that tell about the poet's life and place the writers in the context of the dynamic historical and literary changes that they were part of. I'll also play excerpts of the original languages so you can get a flavor of the poet's actual speech, and each class will include optional writing prompts for your own inspiration. The class starts with Yosano Akiko from Japan. Yosano Akiko, her name should be a household word, and in fact, it is a household word in Japan. She revived the ancient Japanese art of the tanka, the 5-line poem, and she made it a huge force in modern literature. She was one of the most energetic human beings who ever lived. She composed, I'm not kidding, 50,000 poems in her lifetime, and in her spare time, she wrote 11 books of prose and raised 11 children. And her life is just fascinating, and so much of it is the material for her poetry. We then shift to Eastern Europe, and we talk about the Russian poet Anna Akhmatova. She broke new ground at a very early age in talking about women and their personal relationships. And then she also went on during the Stalin purges to describe what Russia went through during that difficult political period. A very brave writer. We next move to Spain for the wonderful poet Federico Garcia Lorca. Lorca lived an openly gay lifestyle at a time when that was extremely taboo, and he wrote during the very exciting period of the Spanish Republic and played an important role in the political and artistic milieu of that time. And he drew on the cultural heritage of his native province of Andalusia, the home of flamenco and cante hondo, which is a type of song, and we'll talk about all of that. Next, we go to the poetry of Lorca's friend, Pablo Neruda from Chile. Neruda was one of the most fantastic poets ever, and he wrote so many different kinds of poetry so well. He wrote everything from love poetry to revolutionary political poetry to the elemental odes that he wrote about ordinary things like salt or onions. And he also, like Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera, who were bringing the imagery and the history of Latin America into art, he did the same for poetry. And our next poet is Leopold Sédar Senghor. And Senghor was not only the first person of African descent to earn a PhD in France, he was not only the leader of his country who brought Senegal to a peaceful revolution of independence, but he was also a major poet. So imagine somebody who was not only the Nelson Mandela of his country, but also a great writer. Last but not least, we talk about the Turkish poet Nazım Hikmet, who wrote some of the most moving and hard-hitting poetry I've ever read, and his life, the stuff of legends. So I hope you'll join us for this whirlwind around the world tour of 6 great poets. And the reading will be about 10 to 15 pages of poetry per class, and there'll be a quiz at the beginning of each class on the previous reading. Just kidding, there's no quiz, but we will have some great discussions. So I hope you'll join us for Around the World with 6 Poets.